This is a demo of 41256. I want to show Chris what I found with this, and it's pretty fascinating. First of all, we put in the larger dissipation resistor. It's the exact same number of ohms, but instead of it burning up at 50 watts, it now burns up at 100 watts. And now it's thermally coupled to the entire chassis, so the whole chassis is a heatsink. This has been tested now for 24 hours, and it runs cool as a cucumber, and I'm going to show you why. We're going to test it with two types of signals. The one we do it in the lab here is with a sine wave because it's more revealing. Then we're going to use regular dynamic signal like you would use at home, music or voice or whatever. And I'll show you what we're going to do. We're going to be able to hear it, which is not going to show us anything. And we're going to have to turn the speakers off, go into dummy loads anyways, because at the volume level it will damage my ears and it will distort the microphone. So what we're going to do is actually watch the signal on this device here, which is called a dual trace oscilloscope. The upper trace is going to show us your left channel. The lower trace is going to show us your right channel. And I'm going to show you what I found. I came in this morning after running it overnight and most of yesterday. It was cool as a cucumber. Okay, so let's turn it on first and I'll show you why it's cool as a cucumber. Okay, and I want you to disregard the numbers here. The reason for that is, let me turn that down. The reason for that is someone might say, well, it doesn't clip, which is what I'm going to show you, at above a certain number. But that's irrelevant because that's based on the amount of signal that's actually being fed to your amplifier. So if I was feeding in a stronger signal, it would clip at a lower number, maybe 30 or 40. If I was feeding in a weaker signal, you'd have to turn it up to 80 or 90 for it to clip. So I want you to disregard this, okay? So let's turn it up. And what you're hearing is a sine wave going into your item. And I can show you what this looks like at low volume. I don't know if you can see the oscilloscope there. No, you can't. Okay. This is what it looks like at low volume. And that's the way it's supposed to look. But as I turn the volume up, it's number one, it's going to distort the microphone and it's going to hurt my ears. So what we do in a place of that is we connect what's called a dummy load. I can select it to be 8 or 4 ohms and it stresses the amplifier the same amount, but it converts the sound energy into heat. So what I'm going to do is go back down here. Actually, let's bring it up here. And I'm going to switch over to the dummy load. I'm going to switch over to the dummy load. You may not be able to understand me. That's probably distorting. I'm going to switch over to the dummy load and run it very, very loudly. And I'll be able to narrate as we're doing this. Okay, so I need to get some more attenuation off of that. So we're going to turn this up. Now, if I run it at this level right here, let me get us a little more gain. Little more gain. Right there is good. If I run it at this level right here, it'll run forever. It'll run forever. Cool as a cucumber. As soon as I drive it past clipping, and clipping is, if you notice, the top and the bottom of the sine waves are no longer smooth. They starting to flatten out. That's clipping. That's when it gets hot. That's when it runs an incredible amount of current. And that's what destroyed the original resistor. So even though I put in this heavier duty resistor and have it bolted to the chassis, we really didn't need to do that if we just run it below the clipping level. Okay, so right there it's clipping. No good. Right here it would run cool forever. And what I'm going to do is switch over to a dynamic signal like you'd run at home. You certainly don't run sine waves. You listen to music or voice. So we're going to go over and do that. And I'm going to show you what that looks like on an oscilloscope. Not that it's going to do you any good because you probably don't have an oscilloscope. But if you had one at home, you would know when you're driving it too hard in the clipping. But again, I've run this for 24 hours now, below clipping, and it's cool as a cucumber. But anyways, this is what a dynamic signal looks like when it starts to clip. It's going to be a little harder because it's moving, but on the peaks, you're going to see they start to square up. Not yet. Come on. I've got ESPN playing, so they're narrating something. There you go. You can start to see on the peaks. You got to look quick, but you can see it's starting to square. And that's when this runs into excessive current draw. Oh, wow. I hope that's showing up there. But I can see it very clearly here how on the peaks you're getting a horizontal line on the peaks. Yeah, I can see it on the recording being made on the computer. So I'm going to turn it back down. We'll just go over and listen to it. But and that's still loud. That's probably distorting the microphone.
Is he going to be a divider?
So if you...
It's a legitimate basketball question. Nobody's talking about his mama.
If you play this a little more conservatively, you're not going to have any problems. It runs cool as a cucumber. If for some reason you want to get an oscilloscope and be able to walk a little bit more closer to the clipping, you can do that. Not likely you will. But I was very surprised when I came in this morning. I expected this to be very warm, if not hot. It was cool as a cucumber because it ran below the clipping level, like we're doing right now. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to send it up to YouTube, then I'm going to email you the link and get you your invoice. This baby's ready to go home.
Remember, Jeff Passan, a Major League Baseball analyst and reporter.